All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Smirking Gun. Glad to be here. Glad to be talking about this wonderful show that we talked about initially back in 2020. We're revisiting devs, and this is episode 3. I want to thank all the returning viewers and all the new viewers. Welcome. As we have been diving into this show that Alex Garland created back then about a tech company that for the sake of the technology and how one software engineer is trying to solve the mystery and bring accidentally on the way, I guess, it's bring the whole thing down with what they're trying to do there at devs. And what are they doing at devs? And is it called devs? Is it? Because I keep hinting that it's not, but it's like, I don't want to ruin it for anybody else. Like, same as like, one at a time where you just suddenly blurt out the end. Like, if I were to just say the ending of a murder mystery in like episode 3 based on a book or something, it's like, and along the way while I'm rewatching this stuff and I'm taking notes, I'm like sitting here like anybody else going, what is this? What is this? What is this? And then like they'll answer it in the episode and I'll be like, holy shit. So how do I talk about it without revealing that I know what's coming? But it's just about explaining my own thoughts. And that's what we're here, what it brings up for me. What do I think the deeper meanings are? Are they entertaining? Find any million of the other reviewers out there who want to talk about blocking and acting, all that stuff. We talk about that stuff here, but we focus on what these things make us think about and what it makes us feel. We definitely ask for, permission. So let's get into episode 3 of Devs, where our main cold open here is them using the computer, uh, the quantum computer technology to look backwards through time. And I was gonna look it up, but I didn't. But we also see they show again a scene from the crucifixion. We see what we're supposed to think is like what it was like to see Joan of Arc burn alive. We get to see Lincoln at the Gettysburg Address. And then we see Forrest's daughter. And then we see what's Lily doing. Well, what that they talk about, how they use their technology for the quantum computer do, and here we go. We start this episode 2 text played by Kaylee Spaney and Stephen McKinley. Henderson? I thought I turned the notification. And they are Lyndon and Stewart, the lab techs, and they're doing what they call sound wave data. But what they're watching is Arthur Miller and Marilyn Monroe having sex. That's random. But I do like this scene because it does bring up kind of a thing that's about, that can be said about a lot of things, which is why Katie sees this, played by Allison Pill, and she sees this and she says, why do male techs always feel the need to caricature themselves? Step 1, we create a new technology existence. Step 2, we figure out how to use it. It's freaking true. I mean, look at what they did at the beginning of film, to film ourselves way back in the day. Over 100 years ago, when people were just getting, figuring out film, they filmed people having sex. And you look at paintings on walls and caves and hieroglyphic, in the pyramids and everywhere in human human existence, we have been drawing and showing people having sex. Yet somehow we're all still so repressed. We've been doing it openly. How to do it in some form or another, and not everybody does. Okay, again, anybody that's out there, it's like I'm asexual as fuck. Understand, but the general population out there biologically has an imperative to do something because he's like, well, to thine own self be true, and that basically, and everybody here is a product of sex, and that's true. I mean, except for the test tube babies and the in vitro babies and other stuff, the surrogates and things. There are ways, okay, but again, generally speaking, the common way of having a kid is through sex. So that's his justification, and that is basically like breathing, so it's not really like we're invading, but it really is like something that's just, I just don't understand how something that's so prevalent, we all like, there's there's been sexual revolutions, and yet there's new, it feels like in some ways we are right on the cusp of being so free sexually, and yet somehow some group out there, I can't recall what group it is, it's always trying to keep us. All right, we're experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties, so if there was a little bit of a gap there, I apologize. There's some serious internet issues we're having on my end today. I don't know what's going on, but we're forging on. So we talked about the two rules and that they don't look into privacy. The key of this one, besides the whole talking about porn, turning everything into porn, is that he says to her, she leaves, and Stewart turns to Lyndon's like, don't break the rules, coming from her. So, I mean, what level does that mean that they've been breaking their own rules? What that means looking forward, I'm assuming. So, on how far have they looked? Again, this showing how what we all should pretty much know at this point is that they get us to question how far forward have they looked, because of all the things that Forrest says. You could say could be about something else. Could just be straightforward saying, well, maybe Kenton has lung cancer and that was why this doesn't matter. Or what he says later on in this episode about Lily being like, she's gonna be fine. She will be, like nothing happens to her, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, how far into that is he just saying like nothing will happen to her, like don't kill her, or nothing will happen to her because I already know it? So basically, like I said, it's just how far did they look, and who are they talking about? I mean, they're kind of putting it all out there when they show us looking in on her with the sign. We know now they are looking forward. So, but who's doing the looking? Is it just Katie? Because it doesn't sound like Kenton is. Kenton, it just sounds like Kenton just may have seen something, maybe experienced like seeing the daughter or something. But otherwise, I think that it's probably all coming from like Forrest. Maybe he doesn't look, but gets the information from Katie. I mean, but I wouldn't be surprised if Forrest looks too. I mean, he already looks at it. He looks back. He's made so many ethical, questionable ethical choices. Questionable. They killed the guy, so it's beyond questionable ethics. But we get our first look into what Forrest is afraid of, which is government oversight, with the visit of Senator Lane, who, she's from Tech Oversight, and she wants to know why in this field of quantum computing, he's got everything and none of his competitors have anything, and they've been decimated. And under the guise, I guess, of like monopoly and such, They're there with questions. How do you have everything? And, it's again, like, what are you doing there? Him not being at all impressed with like how she's trying to leverage him with questions. He's just like, go ahead, ask away. And they're like, well, what are you developing at DEVS? And he's like, DEVS means development. Duh. But he keeps answering like a coach, being asked about what they're going to do for the next game, right? He doesn't give them really anything. He just gives them broad strokes of things that we say, like, oh, well, we're going to study the game plan, But he's like saying that we're looking into the potential of our tech, but that he knows that their oversight really means control and they want to give it to the NSA. But she's like, no, it's for America. That old chestnut. This is all for America, don't you know? And the way she says it, it's like a slogan that not even they believe. It's like she knows she's trotting it out the way she's saying it, for America, meaning big corporations that just want the tech to develop their own money, to squeeze everything else. It's just it's like, right. It's so bald-faced. And it's what we experience every day, right to our faces. They throw out these things that they say to us that we know are just bullshit. She also says, well, you think America is trivial? Again, putting him in that, like, what do you say to that? And it's like, I mean, I know what I say, but it makes me think about, like, the struggle that people would have. They have to have it, of inventing the truly great things that can bring us forward, realizing that we'd be inventing these things and bringing them to a world that will, well, first off, make porn from it, apparently, right? But also it just immediately gets taken and used for something else, for somebody else. How many things have been invented that have just been sucked up by the machine? The corporate machine, the political machine, the money machine. It's all the same fucking machine in a way, just different parts of the same thing. And like, do you question even making anything, knowing that unless you do it in some like such secrecy that I don't even know. Where do you go? Like underground into the, towards the fucking center of the earth? Do you go into do you create, like, you go find some secret sea lab or something? Like, no, you can't even do that. I mean, they'd see you doing it, right? What are you doing out there in the ocean? Nothing. So where do you even go when everyone is going to try to take the thing that could be something and then bastardize it? And I don't know. It's big ethical questions, because again, what have they done? What have they done here with their thing? And how many people are worth killing for it to work? So it's like, you don't even, not just the question of how your thing will be used by other people, but like, what will you do to protect your thing? It's this really big questions that, like, whenever you think about it, you go, I'm glad I don't have to be one of the people that makes those decisions. But we know that they've been made over time and time and time and time again. And how many bodies have been along the way for all this progress? And even though it churns our stomach, we still use all this stuff, even knowing, if we let ourselves, to how much cost was it to get this thing. And in the end, is that thing worth it? It's the could and the should thing. Because I mean, there's different, on the surface, I'd be like, well, of course we can't just do this if that means we have to do that. And then I think about the implications of the thing that would be so astoundingly great for us, that I go, well, man, well, I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. And then you go, like, it's the kind of thing where it's like, again, how does anything get done? But that's the thing. They don't. That's how they get done. Is there's the people out there who are willing to do that, to be basically the villains, right? When you find out how things, like, But it doesn't stop us from buying, like we all know about sweatshops. That doesn't stop anybody from buying the next phone, the next tablet, the next other thing. So we're all complicit in all of it. So like we yell, it's like we're all like, it's this big circle of just terribleness. But she wants to talk about how his company is looking. Like, how do you look to the world? Like, how, like, and I don't know if she's stating facts or if she's stating like, possibilities about how the public, fears tech and what does that mean to them. And when she says AI meaning 60% unemployment, I mean, yes. I mean, there would be unemployment created by AI if it was like used like universally or globally to take over a lot of jobs. But I don't know if that percentage is accurate, because how would you. But then bringing up social media that essentially destroyed us. She says it, Facebook destroyed democracy. And that, just like Walmart, people realize that they need you, but they don't like you. But does that stop us? Does that stop us from doing everything that we go, I can't believe I got to do this? But we do it, and we go out there and we get mad at them. And it's like, again, we should be mad at ourselves because we can't not have something because, oh, well, you can only get it at that place I hate. So I guess I still got to have it. And then why ask these questions if we don't want to follow through with them? If we don't, like, we ask all these questions, but we have no follow through. Like, we say things that we yell at the government, we say things, and then they shut us down. Or corporate entities shut us down through government or vice versa. And what do we do about it? In the end, we're all talk. We're all bark and no bite. But in the end, he just tells her that this is a prediction algorithm. And that it's just, to predict the weather, basically. And when she says, well, then, is it going to rain? And he's like, looks outside and says, doesn't look like it. I feel like, again, there's some double speak happening here, but I'm just not 100% sure what it is. So we get to this part in the episode where I was starting to get a little concerned because I was like, oh no, they're going this route. And it was an interesting, like, right turn if it was true. But it's not. And there's still part of it that is still interesting, even if it isn't true. And that's Lily talking, sitting there in her bed. It kind of intercut the senator arriving with Lily, like breathing hard, getting up and going to Amaya and being like just visibly shook, saying that she wants to be at work, knowing that, like, us knowing, as an audience member, that trauma, being at work is the last place you should be if you've just experienced trauma. You shouldn't be anywhere near your job. Yet she's there. Why? She's immediately catatonic. People immediately are uncomfortable and notice and are afraid for her. And she starts telling everybody everything. And she sounds, again, even though we know that she's right, to the outside looking in, she sounds crazy. And not crazy, but just immensely grief-stricken and stunned and shocked. PTSD. And this is where we meet Anya, played by Terry Ives. If you don't know who Terry Ives is, she was on Stranger Things for like 11 episodes. But to also be one of those people like where nobody believes you. You know something is true and nobody believes you. And except yourself. And that's when you start like going, okay, if you're self-aware enough, like, if I'm the only one who believes this thing, maybe there is something wrong with me. And especially when she's like, okay, I'll agree. I'll talk to Kenton. I'll talk to security. And I'm like thinking to myself, well, it'll make for a good acting scene. I mean, why would you again, I'm sitting there going, why is she making these bad decisions? And then suddenly her friend Jen tells Anya that she's had episodes before of schizophrenia. And I'm like, holy shit, what? This comes out of nowhere. And I'm going, okay. I mean, that gives automatically the company that if this comes out, and you only bring this up unless it is going to come out, right? And that they could lock you up for it if you ever decide to speak out against the company. They killed my boyfriend, and then they just point out all these things and then have her committed. Done. No more threat. And I was wondering, was there part of this that was said before? But I don't think it was. In the meantime, while this is going on, Lily, Kenton, and Jen, they have their conversation. So we see this. Now, the thing I didn't notice before, well, I noticed it, but I didn't really take any, heed to it, was Lily and Jen have this conversation that we can't hear what they're saying, but it looks really like, I don't know, there's a lot of they're putting the hands on each other, but not in necessarily a violent way. It looks more like comforting or trying to talk somebody down, calming somebody down. And they go in to talk to Kenton, which I'm just like, okay, this is not going to go well. First, you got the bodyguard sitting outside, and the bodyguard to the senator just itching to shoot someone or hurt someone, for somebody to step out and try to stab the senator because he's bored. These are not people that should be security guys. Okay? Guys who are itching for a fight are the ones that shoot the wrong person. McKenton's like, I don't miss the action, even though, well, we already know he's been up to plenty of action and there's nothing to miss. But Lily in this meeting, right? I'm just going, what is happening? She straight up tells him everything about what she's been experiencing, about the phone, meeting Anton, how Sergei's a Russian spy, and just everything out there. And that he's probably been killed by the Russians, and that she's been through this before in Brooklyn. And she starts talking about how she was part of some startup, and she started seeing numbers where there was no, shouldn't just be randomness. And she's just spiraling out in front of me, and I'm going, holy crap. And she's just, she starts talking about Fibonacci sequences, and she's just losing it in front of us. And Kenton's just like, what the hell? And she goes out there and she leaves and she climbs out on the ledge. And the only part about this I didn't like was that when she walks past the Kenton's window, her friend Jen doesn't notice. And I was like, how does Jen not notice her walk past the window? How is it that Forrest? So things started to stop making, sense to me at all. And I'm going, what is this? What is going on here? Because, on one part, I was thinking about what Lily's going through, and I was thinking about how you can have these. I myself will have these obsessive thoughts where I'm stuck in my head, and I can't move forward. I can't move backward. I can't make anything. I can't watch anything. I can't play anything. I can barely go anywhere. I can go do my jobs, and just be and so I get how she can end up on this ledge just feeling overwhelmed. And all of a sudden, Jen gets up after Forrest tells Kenton, we got an employee out on the window ledge outside your window. Go fix it. So when Kenton goes out there to talk to Lily, I'm going, what is going, okay, this is our standard talk the person off the ledge scene, right? Where she's having to talk to the guy who murdered her boyfriend. So I'm thinking that's all this is. And then all of a sudden, Jen gets up and goes to the computer and starts putting a USB port into Kenton's computer, and all of it fell into place. And I was like, "You amazing bastard, Alex Garland, you son of a bitch." Because they just flim-flammed us, and they did such a great job. A show where a bunch of people know what other people are going to do, and it's almost like he established Lily and her personality in such a way that you would never think that she'd ever come up with this plan, because she's so understated that all of a sudden we don't know that what was going on behind the scenes when they were having their conversation was to set this all up, to put on a performance. And the performance, I think, started before she got to Amaya. I think when she got to Amaya and she was sitting there with the other people acting weird, that was all part of establishing that there's something wrong. So that, I mean, she's really smart. She's written really smart. And so this is all just, none of it is true. The schizophrenia part too, I think she said that to Anya so that it would be out there. The information would find its way back. I mean, it just, how did she get this all done? It's just amazing. And so, I mean, and you got Kenton out there on the ledge with her talking about this all might be true, because he knows it is. And that nothing is stranger than reality. And good Lord, is that accurate. And that the shit that happens is weirder than you expect. And that's also really true. So at this point, they start playing The Age of Aquarius. I hate that song. Can I just say, everybody, I appreciate musical talent. I appreciate that people can sing and carry a tune. And it's not like there's anything wrong with the voices in that song, and the people playing the instruments are playing it well. I just can't stand that fucking song. But I like it in context of what they were trying to do in the episode, where this is where we see Lily and Jen breathe, and Kenton tells Forrest, "Hey, we got this ace up our sleeve, except, if they ever try to use it, right, there won't be any evidence of her having schizophrenia. So for right now, she's safe. For a half a second, I feel like she's safe." But this is where Kenton, is like, "We don't have to do anything." And Forrest is like, "Yeah, well, nothing will happen to Lily." And he says it again in that way of like, does he know because he knows? Just like Stuart said, are you saying this because you know? Or because you know? But who knows? And again, we know he knows. It's just, again, how much does he know? How much has he seen? How much of this is playing into his tram lines and what he sees as inevitability? That anything that was going to happen happens, and that he's basically just, how did he not know she was on the ledge? Do you know what I mean? If he knows all that's going to happen. Or is it just that he picks and chooses to look into certain things? And our final scene is Lily and goes back to James's place to watch the video of Sergey getting, torching himself. And this is all off the USB. And it is it is pretty weird to ask somebody to watch the man that left me for him. You left me for him, and now you want me to watch him set himself on fire with you because you can't do it alone. That is weird. But first, he takes apart his laptop and makes sure that no one can see him. But what they don't know is that they can be seen now without any cameras, microphones, a guy across the street, anything. They are now, everybody is vulnerable. The entire world at any time of anywhere, if they wanted to say, "Hey, I want to check out Napoleon, having a hard crap," we can. You know what I'm saying? So nowhere is safe now. But they discover that the flames in the video, they didn't have enough. They took a sample of a visual effects of a flame and doubled it, like they copied it on top of each other so that they're exactly the same. So after all of this, the technology is so easily debunked. This company that could have found any number of ways to cover this up. I think I might have a little bit of a problem with that, just because it just feels like, maybe they just, I don't know. But they automatically tell that it's visual effects and that I wrote down a word that I can't read. What's funny here is I wrote down VFX, and then right next to it, in case while I was reading my notes that I wouldn't be able to understand what VFX was in the moment. So I wrote down visual effect in a way that I couldn't even, because there's only one F. I only put one F in effect. Damn, man. And the last shot is the how they actually did it, and that crazy looking glow on the statue as it's like witnessing them set up this murder, where they just go in with a team of like people that work with Kenton to stage the entire scene, and they all kind of walk backwards out of it, like, and that's how they did it. And that's the end of the episode. I only talked for 33 minutes, but that's because it was a little bit shorter episode. But that's okay. That means that I can get this done quicker and we can move on to episode 4 quicker. So, pardon me, another fantastic episode with tons and tons of stuff to talk about. Now I just wonder what the hell is going to be coming out of my mouth next episode. What are they going to make me think of? Not make me. What is the episode going to make me think of? So, if you like, again, what we're doing here, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And we will be back sooner rather than later, hopefully, with episode 4 of DEVS coming at you soon. Have a great day. Be good to each other. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.